We're going to start by talking a little bit about Wendy Davis. Of course, she burst on the national scene when she did that 12-hour filibuster on abortion down in Texas.
Yes, and she sort of, took some liberties when bringing up her past and sort of painting the narrative of her, pull myself up by my own bootstraps and work through life story. She was called out on that in an article in a Dallas paper, and then kind of fired back saying, look, if anyone doesn't agree with what I said or wants to challenge my background, you haven't walked a day in my shoes. Now, so that statement was released, probably would have just gone over except for the fact that her candidate, the candidate who's opposing her, Greg Abbott, Attorney General, he's been elected 5 times, he's in a wheelchair. So that didn't go over well. So two times she sort of had a hurdle to get over this week. And then Project Veritas released this video of her team going one step further, attacking him for who he is.
I'm really wondering how this is going to work out since he's in a wheelchair and most of the slogans are "Stand with Wendy." That's in our subconscious now, so it's interesting to me from a psychological point of view how it's going to play out.
What I think is amazing is he's in a wheelchair, but he has no sympathy for anyone or anyone.
He may have a personality disorder.
First of all, not good looking. He doesn't speak very well. He doesn't have a good personality, and he's in a wheelchair.
Yeah, it's hysterical, isn't it? So that video came out thanks to James O'Keefe. He did some surveillance work, so the video's real, the people are real, and this actually happened. So whether you like the video or not, the facts. You are mocking somebody who happens to be your opponent, not you, Wendy Davis, but your opponent, the group that's supporting you, is mocking your opponent who happens to be in a wheelchair for not being good-looking, not speaking well, and
being
in a wheelchair, which is unbelievable.
Yep.
Quickly they tried to push back and then really realized that was a problem. So Wendy Davis came out and said this: the language used in the video about Greg Abbott is abhorrent. Greg Abbott has persevered through great personal challenge to raise a family, have a productive career, and for that he deserves respect. And keep in mind this: why are we going over this? Because the Democrats have a chance, because Wendy Davis was looked at as an up-and-coming superstar, to take Texas and have a governor in a place in Texas. And if you are a Democrat, you're saying to yourself, wow, can you imagine if we use this momentum to actually start dominating the electoral votes come the presidential time? You could actually lock up the White House for decades. But now you have a situation where Wendy Davis's story's not adding up. The opponent's coming on strong, and even her polls prior to this video were not good.
She was a long shot to start with. She is a longer shot now. Mr. Abbott himself, who has been in a wheelchair since the 80s when he was hit by an oak tree, he took the high road. He was on with Megyn Kelly last night talking about this slam against him by the other side.
Well, Megan, denigrating the disabled is unworthy of Texas. The reality is Texans look far beyond superficial appearances. What Texans really look at is depth of character. Megan, there's a reason why I have been elected statewide in Texas 5 different times. And that's because Texans know I have the quality and depth of character to represent their families and their values.
Classy. All right, so that's what's going on down in Texas with Wendy Davis, her invented history, and the slams against Mr. Abbott.
Sure, and I think anyone who has a disability and has overcome a challenge chooses not to specifically be defined by that.
Sure.
And as we saw in that video, and you can decide for yourselves, to destroy someone because of that disability or
it's
attempt
disgusting.
to is nothing short of that.
Okay.
Well, in other